Hello. I'm saying hello because I'm not sure whether it's morning or afternoon or late night where you're at this time. We're starting our webinar about Master's Program of Russian Studies at the National Research University High School of Economics in Moscow. On my right is the program's manager, Olga Burmakova, myself, Professor Boris Makarenko, the academic supervisor of this program. Welcome. Let me introduce the program first briefly, and then we'll have a chance to ask and get answers for your questions. Oops. I'm trying to find the program gets stuck. Okay. Our program is 1 year old. The first intake is finishing its second semester right now, or it's in the middle of the second semester. The concept of the program. Russian poet Fyodor Tuchev said about a century and a half ago that Russia cannot be measured by a common yardstick. One has to believe in it rather than comprehend it with reason. And you won't believe how many Russian nativists and identity seekers are repeating this phrase even now. They also like a phrase by Right Reverend Winston Churchill that Russia is a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma. Both of these quotations imply that social science, or for that purpose, academic scholarship, is no good to understand Russia. Our program is trying to prove to the satisfaction of any student exactly the opposite. Russia can be taught and will try to teach you to unveil its mysteries. What's the program about? It's a master's program, 2 years, full-time. The instruction is in English. Knowledge of Russian is welcome but absolutely not required. All the courses, all the literature, all the seminars, all that is in English. If you want to use the opportunity of 2 years in Moscow to improve your Russian, we offer an intensive Russian course in the framework of the program. It is based on the Moscow campus of High School of Economics. You'll have to pay tuition. Limited number of waivers is available. I'll return to that in a few minutes. What are the program's advantages? Well, the first one is obvious. There is no place to study Russia like Russia itself, particularly the heart of Russia. I measured the distance between the main building of High School of Economics and the main Kremlin Tower. It's 1.1 kilometer, or for those who use miles, it's 0.68 miles. National Research University High School of Economics, or as we normally say, University of much more than economics. You can see some of the top rankings. Permit me not to read you from this slide. This presentation will be available to you even after this webinar is over. The administrator will send you a link to a videotape of this webinar not later than tomorrow. What are the other advantages? Well, the first has already been sounded. Study Russia in the heart of Russia. Learn from the leading experts. That deserves a lengthy comment. The Faculty of Social Science in this university exists for more than 20 years. It's a team of professors and practitioners which has been teaching political science and has been teaching the art of learning Russia for that many years. And most of those professors, surprise, surprise, speak reasonable English. So we decided to offer our knowledge of Russia to the international audience in the English language. We quote here research teams. Research is both academic and practice-oriented. Many of the faculty of the program have an experience in political consulting, writing development programs and other materials for regional and municipal governments and the federal government, of course. Myself is the president of Center for Political Technologies, one of the oldest and biggest political consultancies in the country. I'm a part-time professor in the school, but I'm a full-time supervisor of the Russian Studies program. Of course, while in Russia, you'll be exposed to Russian realities and Russian culture, and believe me, you can survive it and enjoy it and benefit from it. The curriculum is interdisciplinary. I mentioned earlier that the program is in political science. By the Russian law on education, we are required to award you, on completion of the program, a degree in a particular field of science. Many programs of other universities, you'll find, are centered around culture, language, literature. Ours, of course, we use Russian culture. Of course, we use Russian literature as part of the curriculum. However, our focus is on political science because we see that as a hub where most of social sciences meet. Our approach is comparative. No matter where you come from, will help you to understand Russia by comparing and contrasting it with other countries, other parts of the world, be it the former Soviet Union, the Europe and North America, or BRICS countries, or whatever you want. The program is in its first year now, so at this time, the last bullet on this slide is not yet in operation. Internships at leading organizations come during the second year. However, the Higher School of Economics has a career service and lots of ties with leading government agencies, NGOs, academic institutions in Moscow and beyond. When we say the curriculum is interdisciplinary, what do we mean? Political science is in the center. However, you will hear courses which are more heavily dominated by sociology, business and economics, demographic studies, media studies, urban studies, legal theory, and the Russian language. Some courses are required. That is, you will be required to take it if you opt for a degree at the end of the two-year period. That includes required courses in political science, only 2 of such courses, methodology and modern political science, and a research seminar. We want you to master the inventory and the tools of political science to analyze Russia, Russian politics, Russian culture, Russian society, Russian economy, Russian business, Russia's relations with the outside world. Also required selected courses in Russian studies, which will appear in one of the next slides. However, starting with the second semester, you will be offered a choice, normally pairs of courses from which you will select one. Depending on what kind of a career you have in mind, what kind of academic interests are in the focus of your attention. That may be continuation of political science and things political. That may be things economic, things sociological, things demographic, things international relations. We have elective courses and we have optional courses for that. When you graduate, of course, first you have to join. But when you graduate, you'll have a strong background in political science. As one of the previous slides demonstrates, HSE's program in political science and social sciences is ranking quite high. Not only in Russia we are in the top 2, but in the world. You will know Russia both by learning and by your personal experience in the streets of the city of Moscow, and of course you'll have chances to visit other campuses of HSE. This university has campuses in St. Petersburg, Perm, and Nizhny Novgorod alongside with Moscow. And that will be an MA degree from a top-ranked Russian universities. We we hope our graduates will make their own choices whether they want to continue with politics and diplomacy, civil service, NGOs and nonprofits, international and Russian businesses, consulting, audit. I would have added translation. Probably I will do that for the presentation for the next webinar. Mass media and communications, and of course, you can continue with your academic career, opting for a PhD either at this university or any other university in the world. This is the list of courses broken down into required courses and elective courses. Peruse it at leisure. I said that you have to pay tuition. This slide lists tuition fees in Russian rubles, euro, and US dollars. Tuition waivers. A limited number of full tuition waivers is available starting the second year. Students who are in here last year did not have this option. This year we have 2 or 3 full tuition waivers based on the merits of the portfolio you present. I'll explain what the portfolio includes in a moment. Soon we'll be able to announce a final decision on our partial waivers policy. Well, this year our program is open to winners of the Russian scholarship project Open Doors Olympics. This is a competition organized by HSC. Unlike the last year, this year, if you compete and if you win, you will be eligible for 50 or 70% waiver of tuition for our program. Summer University of HSC, if you graduate from that and apply for the program, will automatically entitle you to a 25% deduction. We will have, and will announce it in one of further seminars, our own discounts, 20 and 55%, also based on the quality of your portfolio. You can apply right now when we switch off this webinar, or you can apply as late as August 14, although I strongly urge you not to delay that late, particularly if you require a Russian visas. Normally this process works smoothly, but it always takes time. The portfolio, the most important items in the portfolio are letters of motivation. Explain what you expect from the program, why do you decide to join, and essay on a chosen topic. We suggest several topics on the program website, but I can say that if you have another topic in mind and that topic pertains to Russia or things Russian, write to us asking whether you can offer an essay on this and that topic, and if we find the topic is relevant, we will certainly give you an agreement. Recommendation letters, 1 is enough, but if you can provide 2 or 3, you're welcome to. If you have any publications, academic or even good mass media publications, please also attach copies. We need your resumes. Of course, we need your diplomas and transcripts. Tentative, if you are still in the final year of your undergraduate program, you will be able to add the full transcript and in due time. Mention other achievements, awards, grants you think qualify you for the program. Proof of English proficiency, but only in case you are not a native speaker and or the language of instruction in your undergraduate program is not English. If you are a native speaker, if you receive your undergraduate degree in English, that is not required, and we will see from your documents that you do not need that. For your amusement, Tuition is normal for HSC. It's not higher than in other master's programs. However, Moscow is livable. We offer you approximate costs for how much is it to, how much you'll have to spend to live in Moscow. Moscow is an expensive city, but by Russian standards, but by international standards, it's quite livable. When the program was only initiated, even if before it was kicked off, renowned Russian experts from the international community greeted this initiative of HSC. Here you have quotations from two reputable American academics, but this year we can add quotations from our own students, one from People's Republic of China, another from Texas, USA, who relate to you their experiences with the program, which is now actually is continuing with flying colors. That's enough for an introduction. Please use the program website. If you have any questions, you know how to find us. Don't hesitate to ask questions. Questions. One of the students from Tanzania complains of the quality of connection, but I am being advised that's already been taken care of. How much of a tuition fee and discounts? I gave all the answers I have at this time. Yeah. I don't see any more questions in the chat. So please, is there any age limit? No. One of our students is over 50. Two of our students are over 40. Most of our other students are, of course, younger. Do students get paid for internships? Depends on the internship. I know that in Europe, at least in certain European countries, employers are required to pay interns. Not in Russia. In Russia, it depends on where you get your internship. Some pay you, some just teach you how to work, and many students take advantage of that. Oh, over 30. Good enough. How many Russians are usually studying on the program? Well, this is only the first year. We have only the first class, and the class is not big because, as I said, there were no discounts or tuition-free slots available. But we have 2 Russian students in the class of 10 people. 2 of them are Russian. Mind that the number of people from Russia or from many former Soviet republics probably take advantage of a much wider choice of master's programs in the Russian language, which HSC has to offer. But we have 2 Russian students, both of whom had instruction in English in their undergraduate studies. One of our participants confirms that Russia is the best and safe country for international students to study. So far, so good. And Moscow is a nice city. And don't believe that Russian winters are too cold. We barely have any snow this winter. Is there full scholarships in Russia to study this program? Well, full scholarships, if you imply a scholarship that not only waives tuition but pays you, no, not in this program. So there is a limited, very limited, unfortunately, number of 100% waiver of tuition fee, but you'll have to pay for your life in Moscow.
And if you want a full tuition waiver, it would be better if you apply until April 1st, because that's as long as we have the tuition waivers. We might have more after that time, but it would be better if you apply before that, and then on the merits of your portfolio, you may receive a tuition waiver.
Yes, thank you, Olga. Very helpful tip, because, well, first of all, the number is limited. We're not saying it's first come, first served basis, but really to give it a proper procedure, not with our program, but with the university, because the waiver has to be approved by the university administration. We'd appreciate to have it in February or March. Something like master's degree. No. A person asks if he or she already has an MBA, whether it disqualifies that person. Not at all. In fact, at least 2 of our students have master's degree in other fields from other universities. Mm-hmm. Is there a chance to study Russian language? I think I mentioned it. We offer an intensive course in Russian in the framework of this program. You're not required to take that course, not even if you don't speak Russian, but you can take it. Full scholarship for this scholarship. I'm afraid I don't understand. And I think I answered that. For lines of references to research. Okay, what we do have, but I guess it's not on the website because we just finished completing it recently. We have annotated courses. That is, each professor writes half a page or a page about his or her course. And of course, when you are in here, you will have access to the syllabi, which gives you all the reference.
Syllabi is on the
website. Yeah, the syllabi is on the website. But probably the annotations should be added too. Can pure vegetarian students survive for 2 years? Many Russians are vegetarian. I live in a street, and 2 blocks from my place is one of the most popular vegan, not vegetarian, but vegan restaurants in Moscow. However, one reason I hesitate to go vegetarian is because Russia is a northern country, and the variety of fruits and vegetables and other vegetarian vegan products in Russia, particularly in winter, may be questionable. But yes, you can survive. My daughter does not eat red meat, and she's doing fine.
While we're waiting for questions, I will open the quotations from our students, just so they could read it at their leisure while we're waiting for more. Again, while we're waiting, I will make a few more notes that might be useful for you. First, the university has a dormitory. It's very comfortable, and it's offered to all the international students. It's available and it's rather cheap. Okay.
Now the cost is. Is it possible to study with scholarship under a bilateral agreement? No, rather than yes, because at this time our program is not open for students coming under such bilateral agreement. But I'm not saying exceptions are not possible. To open master's degree for translation in English. Huh. I know about a program of this kind at McGill, a different university in Moscow. Well, at least not this year, and probably not the next one.
To go back to the previous question, while we don't have a bilateral agreement, the diploma that you receive in the end is a degree in Master of Arts, and it's a European standard degree that, and your transcript will be in English. So it's absolutely international and accepted at any other university.
Well, is it the same person who wrote about the translation in English? I'm recommending it. Well, it's a question we were discussing. I have some background in translation and interpretation, including simultaneous interpretation in 2 languages, and I have many friends in the translation interpretation community. Well, thank you. I'll recollect that. Entrance exams. Oh, we don't have entrance exams in this program. It's a portfolio competition. You send in the list of documents shown in this slide. We evaluate it and produce a grade. There is a minimum threshold, but most applicants are above that. If you are very well above that threshold, you may be entitled to a waiver. But it depends on the competition. Do they have multiple descriptions? No. So if the question is only about entrance exams, we don't have it in master's level program. In the courses you'll take, of course, there are all kinds of exams, oral and written, both with multiple choice and descriptive. I use both in my courses.
To add to this, the application process that we have is you register at the website. We have a QR code on this slide, and there will be a link in the emails that you will receive later. And then you apply with your portfolio. You send all the papers that are listed here, especially your essay and your letter of motivation. There are topics for the essay on the website. And then after we review your portfolio, you have a brief interview by Skype. And after that, we give you the decision really quickly for your acceptance. It takes a bit longer to process the application for your scholarship waivers. But again, this process doesn't take as long, and especially if you apply until April 1st.
Yeah, thank you, Olga, and a very good note. Very often, we receive a portfolio which contains everything except the essay. Please, to speed up the process, send it in, because in our policy, essay is one of the critical components of the portfolio and has the heaviest weight within that portfolio. So send it complete, or else Olga will get back to you asking for to send in the essay. Then, as soon as we see the portfolio is complete and we are ready to evaluate it, we'll contact you to organize an interview by Skype, or if by any chance you are in Moscow, you could probably come here. That does happen sometimes. One last thing now that I mentioned, people who may be in Moscow in March and or May, we have an open door day. That is to say, the presentation of the program in person at HSC. Mark the dates for these two open doors dates if you are or plan to be in Moscow. The first will be held on March the 25th, the second on May the 27th.
Of course, if you are in Moscow at any other time, you can drop by the university and we will talk to you about the program in person.
Oh yeah, one more question, and yes, I already answered that. We don't have full scholarships covering everything. We have waivers of tuition, but you'll have to pay for your stay, which includes dormitory and meals and other incremental expenses. How many students are accepted for this course? There is no limit. The first class is small, it's only 10 persons. The second will certainly be sufficiently more populous. I anticipate a class of 20 plus people this year. But it's not that if you come in 21st and your application is valid that we reject you on this basis. No. Okay, we've been on air for 32 minutes. I will allow a couple of more minutes for somebody who forgot to ask his or her most vital question. I can see one appearing on the screen. After I finish answering that question, I'll wait for another minute or two and then bid you goodbye. What modern political science cover different from other international courses of the subject? Well, it is different in the sense that it doesn't start from scratch. It doesn't cover the ABC of political science. It's rather concentrates on the contemporary trends in political science. This course is offered by Assistant Professor Israel Marquez, and it's very popular with political science students of various programs. He's offering the same course to the Russian language program in political science. Is there a specific Russian approach? Not with Israel Marquez. He is trying to give you a nutshell of international, to a significant degree, American political science. Where Russian-specific approach comes, my course is in political science, and there, let me find another slide. Yeah. Explaining contemporary Russian politics, institutions, and beyond. That's the third bullet in the left column. That's my course. What I do, I go institution by institution of the Russian state and society, start with a resume of what the wisdom of contemporary political science has to say about that, and then I apply it to Russia to show where it fits, where it doesn't, and try to explain why it doesn't fit or why it works differently. That's what I call Russia-specific approach, not in the sense that Fyodor Tuchev or Winston Churchill implied.
So Just to add to this and or to go back, because I've also been asked about it several times. There are two courses that are specifically in political science and general theory. So after you graduate this whole program, you don't only have the knowledge of Russia and how to study Russia, but you also have a strong background specifically in political science, and you can use it anywhere else.
Yeah, that's an issue which deserves another comment. We have to find a middle ground between two things. One, to concentrate on Russia and things Russian, but you have to use academic, scholastic tools to analyze and study Russia, and that tool is political science. Some of the students in the first year said they did not expect that much of political science. In fact, it's not that much compared to the master's program in political science proper. We try to adjust these two courses in political science plus a research seminar in political science to the realities of this course. For example, these courses are not as heavy in things mathematical as the course which political science students have to study. Is semester abroad available? A good question. We do not rule it out in the future. However, I can't say I'm very enthusiastic about that because of all subjects, Russian studies is the subject which is worth studying in Russia. We are looking at programs and we are talking to at least a couple of programs abroad which concentrate on Russian studies. So my policy is and will be, I would welcome and try to build exchange programs with universities and programs abroad which teach you Russia. Otherwise, if it's political science or sociology, which is certainly worth studying for a semester or more abroad, then it's not about the Russian studies program. But we welcome exchange students from other countries to specific courses in the Russian studies program. I had about 10 exchange students last semester when I was teaching my course. So it's four. Would political economy cover innovation science? Well, the yes and no answer. Yes, otherwise look up the syllabus of that program on the website of Russian Studies on Russian Studies website. It's a very interesting course. I mean, as a specialization, well, first of all, look at the syllabus, and then either write to Olga or myself, and I'll try to put you in touch with the professor. What you can do, you will be required, of course, as a student, to write your course paper the first year and your master's thesis during the second year. And if that is good enough as specialization, yes, you, pending your agreement with the professor, you can write a master thesis on that topic under that professor's guidance. Okay. So it's 39 minutes past the hour. Other month. Innovation. What is that program? Is that in sociology? questions on the chat. Okay, go back to me. And give me the name of the guy you mentioned, so that I would have a better idea. Looks like in the last 5 minutes I was communicating only with the same person in the audience and nobody else. Nobody else. So unless you signal to me that you are writing your last question, let me thank you for your attention. As I said, not later than tomorrow, you'll receive a link where you can find the video of this webinar. And don't hesitate to write to us if you have questions. If you don't, just apply. See you in Moscow next September.